Hi to regular intrepid viewers and welcome to new people. I don't have to give you a trigger warning about what I might say about Trump in this because it's not on Trump for a change. It is on Brexit, and there are lessons for the entire world with Brexit. Okay, so just to recap the basics for those of you who aren't familiar with it, the UK decided to hold a referendum 2 years ago, 2016, should they leave the EU, the European Union. They've been in it for 40 years or something like that, so it was a really big deal. It was a narrow vote, but the ones who wanted to leave won marginally. Now, I don't think you can look at Brexit without looking at the campaign, what people were told would happen and why it was a good idea to leave the EU. And they made it sound like the UK and Britain and England in particular just gives hundreds of millions of dollars to the EU and it's a one-way street and you could be spending that money on the health service. It sounds really reasonable. Except it leaves out two major things. One is that that money wouldn't have gone to the health service anyway, and the reason England and anyone else puts money into the EU is because you get things out. Duh. The EU also is the largest trading bloc. So if you think that the US has 360 million people, the EU is 500 million. So to say to your neighbours you're going to pull out is ridiculous. It makes no sense at all. However, it won. Now, one more thing before I launch into the reading, viewers. Why did people make the decision they did? Well, many of them were influenced by a misinformation campaign by Cambridge Analytica, the same mob who sabotaged the American elections, the same people. Rebecca Mercer, Eric Prince, all of those. It's just that the players they connected with, instead of Manafort and so on, were people like Nigel Farage, who is possibly the embodiment of evil in his own right. So that's the background to Brexit. It was always going to be complicated, expensive, and end up not being marvellous. And quelle surprise, it ended up being all those things, and now it is very close, 29th of March. So I'm going to do a Celtic cross on Brexit because it needs quite a bit of detail to set it up, okay? So, Brexit. I'm using the Japaridze deck. So let's see. All right, in the middle, yes. With the Celtic cross, I like to get the first 4 cards out to get a feel. Oh, the skeletons. Okay, now, at the heart of the issue, the stranger of fire. That's all that rhetoric of inflaming people. You know, why give our money away? We don't need the EU. We can just be Brits and we'll make independent trade arrangements with everybody and it'll all be much better. All that fiery stuff that appeals to people. It appeals on some very simple level to people's, you know, leaning towards tribalism and sovereignty. So it was effective. Okay, now behind that, the Jester of Gardens, Page of Pentacles, I think this represents those players I was describing, but also in a way the naivety, the youthful clown-like naivety of people in relation to what they were being told. They liked the idea of the butterflies of freedom and, you know, now we can be Brits again and blah, blah. Okay. What's across that, the challenge? Here we have the warring skeletons. because make no mistake, viewers, this was also an election based on racism. A large part, spoken and unspoken, was about stopping immigrants coming to this country. People fail to appreciate how immigration actually boosts the economy. All the Western economies are having fewer children, ageing populations. We need immigrants, but it was very much along those lines as well. I think this card also speaks to how Brexit is playing out now, with the Parliament attacking itself. Not only attacking Theresa May, but attacking itself. Underlying it, the Ten of Gardens, the dynastic card, freedom. So again, those who are born to wealth and born to privilege, and don't forget there's still a House of Lords. I mean, spare me, call me an Aussie girl from the back blocks, but House of Lords? Okay, yep. So, privilege and money, that's dynastic old money, but it's also big new money, Russian oligarchs. Oh, and Putin has his little digits all over Brexit as well in terms of benefiting from it. So, I might get to that. Okay, so this is the big money behind the scenes at the root of the Brexit decision, right? So, a bit further back first. Okay, sorry, I should bring the screen down. What the Brexit vote played on was that feeling that life isn't as good as it used to be, and if we can get out of the EU, everything will be great again. Feeling imprisoned by the EU. Okay, so let me just make a little comment on that, viewers. Sorry, new viewers probably won't be familiar with my sociological sidelines here, but if you ask a farmer, a British farmer, they'll go, oh, I hate the EU because there's all these laws of what grain we can give to what cattle and all the conditions we have to run our farms. We hate the EU, except they wouldn't even still own the farms if it wasn't for the trade from the EU. If you talk to British or Scottish fishermen, they'd go, we hate the EU. All the rules we have around fishing and all the equipment we can and can't use and when we can fish and how much fish, hate the EU, except you wouldn't have a job without the EU. You see, there's a pattern. Even people who benefit don't often realise where the benefit comes from. And British agriculture for a long time has been propped up by EU subsidies, the invisible money that comes back. But nonetheless, people felt imprisoned. They were offered the key to the door. Here's the referendum. You can get out. So people go, yeah. Okay. The general sky, as it's called in the Celtic cross. Oh, the Two of Swords, absolutely. They're at a crossroads, and more than one crossroads. So, I don't want to harp on too much about this because those of you who are involved with Brexit and follow it know the stuff, and those of you who aren't familiar with Brexit, it's too detailed. But suffice to say, there's more than one deal on the table. Crossroads, Two of Swords. Okay, so that's the no-deal Brexit, or even just crashing out of Brexit without anything. Okay, so where were we? So, a bit further out, the Queen of Swords. You'd have to say that's the embattled Theresa May, wouldn't you, really? So she's fighting the fight, but I have to say it's a losing fight. It's absolutely a losing fight. She cannot win from here. Her problem was she wanted to rescue a bad deal. She wanted to do the decent thing. People had voted. We've got to abide by that vote. She should have sent what the people who are called Brexiteers, those who wanted to get out, she should have sent them to get a deal from the EU. But she didn't. She went herself as the Queen of Swords and said, I'll do the deal making. And of course got shitty deals. Why? Because the EU is not happy with the divorce. So not happy with the divorce. They're not going to make it easy. So I think that's embattled next to the skeletons, Theresa May. All right. Now, how does Britain see itself at the moment? At the beginning of a new phase, for better or for worse, the Ace of Gardens. It's certainly a new phase, right? It's too close now. It's taken 2 years dribbling on, and so people are trying to put a brave face on it. Well, we've come this far. We've got to find a way through it. So the obstacles to that. Oh, yes, fiddling while Rome burns. The spotlight on one person, which could be Theresa May, instead of actually crunching the numbers and doing the deals. So with this, the Six of Fire, you'd have to be a bit concerned. Like I said, it's more fiddling while Rome burns. It's fiddling while the UK economy hits the toilet. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. All right, so Six of Wands, we'll see. Oops, didn't pick up all the cards. So now, the atmosphere or environment. Oh, death. Yucky poo-poo. Death, as we know, can mean new beginnings, but sometimes, you know what, it just means death. I'm being a bit facetious, but this does not bode well. However, it's in the position of atmosphere and environment, meaning what I'm seeing here, people are torn, right, the two directions, between those who think, well, we'll make a go of it because we have to make a go of it, and more people who are really worried and going, what on earth are we going to do about this? So the death card under the skeletons, not looking marvellous for Brexit. So the short-term outcome, bit of positivity here. UK viewers might be pleased to see this, the star. So maybe the sky won't crash in. Of course, it actually literally won't. So there is hope. Where there's life, there's hope. I'll come back and do a clarifier on that. Further out. Oh, we're getting very used to this card, viewers. The hand through the wall, offering the flowers. The woman being tempted. Right? So as people are reaching for hope, they're being offered flowers and being told, look, it'll be all right because, and then the flowers are the because we'll do all these great deals with the rest of the world, and because Britain can't fail, after all, we are Britain, etc., etc. So you'd have to be a bit suspicious of the ghostly hand through the wall. Further out, Temperance, finding a balance. That's a good card in this context. So a couple of good things are happening here. Finding a balance or finding some sort of pathway through. So I need to do clarifiers on the Hope card and the Temperance card. Let me see here. I'm going to use the Sibylla Oracle. I'm quite liking them as clarifiers. So, the Nine of Cups. Oh, yes. The woman and the letters and the deals. This could be Theresa May pulling a deal together of some sort. The Temperance card, swinging away, hoping for the best. Oh, the older gentleman. Okay, so this could be crowned. This could be several things. this could be a particular man who manages to secure, along with Theresa May, a deal, but he's getting crowned, and I think it's more likely to be a general election, and some new man will take hold. It certainly doesn't look like Jeremy Corbyn, the Labor leader, does it? But that's not how the cards work, of course, about literal representations. So it'll be a man either way. So either it'll be Labor and Jeremy Corbyn, or it'll be the someone new the Tories will put up. May's not going to survive past this point for very long. You'd have to think she's a lame duck Prime Minister. Okay, so what do we make of all this, girls? Well, crossroads. Britain's at a crossroads. So the choices from here on in are not marvellous, as those of you who follow it are aware. Hard Brexit, soft Brexit, off the cliff Brexit, no Brexit, or returning for a second referendum. I'll just ask that before we fold here. Will there be a second referendum? I wonder. So we'll just see. Let me put these cards back. It's not a marvellous idea for a whole host of reasons. I have to say, also, don't forget, the reason that the Brexit vote that was very close got up was because of all the people who didn't vote. Again, do we see a pattern here, viewers? Trump got in because 46% of people didn't vote. Brexit got up because huge swathes of people didn't vote. And they often tend to fall into those who vote for Labor in the UK or Dems in the States. So it's not just, oh, well, if 46% didn't vote, they all would have been split down the middle, Dems and Republicans. It doesn't work like that. So people have, if you want to keep a democracy, you have to use it. Forgotten what the question was. Oh, second referendum. Okay, will there be a second referendum? There we go. 10 of Wands, not looking good. 7 of Cards, illusion. Sorry about the muttering star. What do I think about that? 10 of Wands. If I took this card on its own, I'd be saying no, but it's going to be still talked about, and there's a slight delusional, or not slight, a delusional quality to this card. Delusional in the sense that it would be delusional that it would be conclusive, because I suspect it wouldn't be. Okay, so people are kind of desperate, and it's not off the table. But then there is the star card, hopes and wishes. So there's a possibility there. There is a possibility of a second referendum. I'll leave it at that. Okay, guys. So no news flashes. Just generally, Brexit is a complete mess. You don't have to be a psychic to realise that. Is it going to be sorted in the near future? I doubt it very much. Is there hope in the future? Well, yeah, because there's got to be. There's just got to be, you know. But fascinating things, you know, will unfold between now and then. So good luck, guys, with the 29th of March. Ooh, ah. Okay, bye now. See ya.